they can come into our reality, which is vibrationally not totally compatible with them, therefore they can't stay too long before they get dismantled vibrationally and badly affected. But one way they can stay longer is by drinking human blood. Because human blood, again, if you take it from the holographic, which we see as red stuff going through veins, you bring it into this metaphysical universe level, it's again information. It's a vibrational state, and by consuming human blood, it carries the human genetic code, therefore, metaphysical universe, vibrational code, and it allows them to stay in this reality for longer. And so this is one reason, there will be others, but this is one reason why where you follow these bloodlines through, etc., you eventually hit things like pedophilia, and you hit Satanism, human sacrifice. Human sacrifice to who? The gods, the reptilian gods who feed off that energy of terror and fear, etc., which a satanic human sacrifice systematically builds up in the way it's done. Another thing is that within visible light, within our frequency range, whatever you want to call it, electromagnetic spectrum, when these entities are within that reality, they eat humans like we eat cattle, sheep, and animals. And this is, again, a theme going right back in the ancient world of the reptilians eating humans, sacrifices to the gods and all the rest of it. But when they're outside of this reality, in their own vibrational reality, they are feeding off our energy. They're vampiring off our energetic state. Now, if I am going to vampire an energy source, that energy source must be within the frequency range that I can connect with. If it's radio 1 and I'm radio 2, I ain't going to vampire that. I have to make that connection. And so what they've done is structure society to keep humanity. This is not the only reason they've done this. They've done it to keep us in the moon matrix frequency range, which operates for the same reason within this same frequency range I'm talking about. They have structured society to generate maximum fear, maximum stress, maximum frustration, maximum anger, maximum conflict, because that low vibrational energy and wars, like world wars and stuff like that, and 9/11s, they generate enormous amounts of human low vibrational emotional energy. And they feed off this stuff. And then that power, that sustenance is then recycled back in the control system. But the reason that when I've investigated almost any, not every one, but almost any of these major Illuminati names, it's led eventually to Satanism, and invariably it's led to pedophilia. Why? Because again, this energetic vampiring. What these pedophiles are, indeed what these elite pedophiles are, like Father George Bush and people, I've been naming him for years, and Ted Heath, the former Prime Minister of Britain, and endless bloody others, who appear on CNN and BBC News every day, by the way. We're going to have some real shocks when these names come out, and they're going to. The reason is that they're possessed entities. And in the general population, where people do not have famous names but are pedophiles, the same principle applies. You've got the human level, the hybrid, and they're having sex with the child. Invariably, it's anal sex, even if it's a girl. Again, a common theme. And what is that doing? They're connecting with the child in the area of the base chakra, the base vortex point of the human energy field. While they're having sex with the child, the possessing entity, just outside of human sight, is drawing that energy out from the child. And there is something for these reptilians about energy before puberty, a child's energy before puberty. Because as we all know, when you reach puberty, there is a dramatic chemical change that takes place. From their point of view, this has an effect on the energy field of the child that they'd rather not have. It's not as pure from their point of view. And when you have this ancient theme, Bill, of sacrifices to the gods of young virgins is just code for children. They were sacrificing children, and because of this pre-puberty energy. And so there is a very clear explanation, once you take this picture on, why so many of the elite people in the banking system, politics, and all these other elite institutions are both Satanists and pedophiles, or one or the other, usually kind of both if you go deep enough into it. And they are feeding off human energy, particularly feeding off the child's energy. And I read a passage in one of the Carlos Castaneda books, after I understood all this, where he's quoting his shaman source. Carlos Castaneda books were in the 60s, that kind of period, when he was writing about the teachings of someone called Don Juan Matos, his Central American shaman. Some people say Don Juan didn't exist. I tell you what, if he didn't exist, well, you know, Castaneda was a bloody genius then, because what he put in his mouth was unbelievably accurate. And Don Juan Matos talks about the predators who came from the distance of the cosmos to take over humanity. And he talks about how they took over the mind of humanity. And a direct quote, they gave us their mind. I say that's how they did it. That's how they've done it. That's how they're doing it. And he also talked about the fact that these predators targeted the pure energy field of children, and they fed off it, so that if you saw the child in its full energetic magnificence, it was a bright, shining, vibrating field of awareness. What he said was, if you saw the child as it entered adulthood, it would be a tiny, tiny energy field with virtually no luminosity. And as he put it, just enough to live, but no more. And this is what they're doing in all these different facets we've talked about today. They all fit. It's a picture. Is there more to know? Are you bloody kidding? My God, there's a lot more to know. And I'm not saying that I'm describing everything that there is to know. Absolutely not. The rabbit hole goes so deep. But what we're beginning to do is get the structure within which it works. And when you're putting a jigsaw puzzle together, I find anyway, not that I've done one for ages, that when you get the frame of the picture in place, all those bits with the straight edges, then you start to see much easier where the other pieces go. And of course, the more pieces go in, you start to know where this piece goes, because now you've got a much better idea of the picture, and that's where we're moving now. But my goodness me, have we got some shocks and surprises to come, well and over above what I've been already talking